Hello, beautiful people. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Honest Am here, the creator and writer of the Honestly Sis newsletter, a bi-weekly newsletter geared towards millennials who are truly trying to get their shit together. And I am here for another daily motivational video where we use the tarot to become the alchemist of our lives. All right, y'all. So I am at the tail end of my day. I'm tired. Angel number 18. Let's go ahead and get into it. All right, dear God, guardian angels, and ancestors. What information do you deem worthy for us to hear at this time? Please deliver these messages to me and through me. In God's name I pray. Ashe. I'm actually going to our beings of light. These are some cards that I've been using a lot on my personal time, but I haven't really used a lot on here, so I'm going to make sure I use them. I've never really, that's so crazy. So I need to check these cards because this is the second time there's been like some, what's the face card? Like some, okay. Shouldn't be no more. Sorry about that. Angel number 118. But these cards, I am going to go to these cards. Matter of fact, yeah, let's just leave this here. This is a card that happened to be stuck in these cards. This is a tool that happened to be stuck into these kind of affirmation cards. So I'm gonna stick with this. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna keep this tool out here because I don't believe in coincidences, and there's clearly a reason why these cards keep popping up in here. So I'm gonna take it. First card that came out is Convince Yourself, Not Others. This card has been coming up for me a lot. Right away, the energy that I get from this message is that God is saying that the things that you're going after, you're not doing it to prove it to somebody. Like, matter of fact, to be completely transparent, I feel like I have gotten this card twice. 2 weeks in a row. And to me, what it signifies is that, for one thing, you guys know, like, I'm doing Honestly Sis, and I have these videos, and then I also have the newsletter. And to be completely honest, I have to stop saying that. I need to learn to work on these fillers. But to be honest, I know that what I'm doing, it doesn't look like what a lot of other people are doing. And sometimes I struggle to define what I'm doing. And I realized that a lot of the time when the reason why I didn't want to put stuff on IG was because I didn't want people who don't get it to like judge me or be like, oh, who the fuck is she? Like, I was just worrying about how other people saw me. But what God was trying to get me to realize is it's not about what other people see. The truth is, what I'm realizing is that people, what you get from the world is a reflection of how you feel on the inside. So if I continue to walk around like, oh, people don't understand me, what I'm doing is so different, I'm so weird, blah blah blah, then what's going to come to me is like, I'm going to see that's going to be magnified in the world. And so what God was trying to get me to understand is, like, instead of you worrying about the worst case scenario and you failing and all this other stuff, why don't you put your intention into convincing yourself that you believe in what it is? Because it was like this energy of where I was trying to get you guys to understand, or getting you guys to get like, look, like, God is really giving me this information. These are tools to actually help me. And like somewhere along the line, I realized, like, towards the end of last year, like, I can't get you guys to understand it. I can't get you guys to believe in this. All I can do is present the information and leave it alone. And what God, like, I feel like God kept having this card to Convince Yourself, Not Others come out, was for me to be like, stop crying to make people get it and make people buy into it. And you just, do you believe in it or do you not? Convince yourself that you're that good, you're that great. And when you do that, when you put your energy into convincing yourself that you're that good, then eventually the world will see it. A good example of this is, I was listening to an ASIP conversation with Zendaya, and she was talking about how You know, she started off as a Disney child star, and she was trying to make that transition from like the Disney star to like an adult. And like at first she was getting like a lot of teen roles, and so in order to like start getting those other roles, what she did was she just started to dress up like an adult and like go to these parties that she had no place being on. But to me, what it says is she didn't like go into the room trying to convince people, hey, I'm an adult, I'm an adult. Like what she did was like, you know what? Let me convince myself. Let me show you. Like I feel like she did the work on the inside. Like, no, I can do this. I am an adult. I am grown. She showed up like that, and then the world started to receive her that way. So I really feel like the basis of this is that God is saying like you have to believe it on the inside. You work on yourself, you convince yourself, and then the world will eventually buy into it. The next message that came out is it's not as if you need anyone, and forgive. Was that it? Yeah, and everyone is doing the best they can, and forgive. So I just feel like convince yourself. It's not as if you need anyone. I feel like with this, everyone is doing the best that they can. It's like people are not really looking at you. Like I realize that like nobody thinks about you or is judging you as much as you judge yourself. Like all of that stuff is really self-imposed, and the real truth is people are so stuck in their own mind and their own shit that they don't have time to like worry about you. So God is saying, don't even worry. Maybe, you know, you may be hesitant to do certain things because you're like, oh, what will people think? People ain't even worried about you, girl. Nobody cares. In a good way. Nobody cares in a good way. It's not as if you need anyone. Convince yourself. This is what God is trying to understand, like trying to get you to understand. If you're waiting for permission from the world to become who you are meant to be, you're never going to happen. The world is never going, nobody's ever going to come to you on your job and ask you, well, are you really satisfied? Are you really living the life of your dreams? Do you really feel like you're doing what God sent you here to do? Nobody's going to do that. So you have to do that on your own. This is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like you got to do it yourself. And it's saying it's not as if you need anyone. I feel like a lot of you guys are feeling like maybe the reason why you won't create anything, or the reason why you, it's like the reason why you're not creating anything is maybe because you're worried about, well, will the audience be there? And does people get it? And God is like, it's not even, stop worrying about the audience. I feel like for a lot of you guys, instead of just like following your intuition and going wherever it leads, it's like you won't take the first step because you're like, but what about this? Like, but what about that? Like, if I write this book, who gonna read it? And who's gonna come? And who's gonna da-da-da? And God is like, don't worry about all that. Don't worry about the people coming. Just worry about showing up, okay? I just feel like at the basis of this, God is saying to convince yourself, not others, okay? The card that came out and the tool that we're going to focus on is flawed premises can attract true unwanted evidence. If you were to hear a false premise again and again until you yourself begin to believe and repeat it, now your own activation of the contradictory vibration will interfere with your sense of intelligence, and you will begin to attract evidence of your belief, the effect proving the false premise to be true. And so it becomes increasingly hard for you to call this false premise when the evidence seems to be telling you that it is true. For over time, you come to believe it is true. And so this message is just saying, like, maybe, your whole life you've been teased, you've been talked about, and like you've heard that so much, you've been teased so much, or you're selfish, you're not smart, you this. You hear it so much that eventually you believe it. It's not even that you, and this is why I want you to understand, it's not like nobody is really in their heart wanting to be like, I don't believe in myself. Like nobody want to not believe in themselves. But because life happens and because we live in this simulation with other people and we had a childhood where people got to influence it, there is a possibility that if you've been talked about, teased about, talked down, not loved, not nurtured your whole life, on a subconscious level, you can believe, well, I'm not worthy of love. I'm not worthy of achieving my dream. I'm not worthy of happiness. I was actually listening to the Oprah and Mariah Carey interview, and Oprah asked Mariah, she said, because Mariah was, she was telling her story about her book, and she was just saying, yeah, well, there was this point where I didn't believe that I could have success and happiness. And then Oprah was like, well, do you believe, Oprah was like, well, do you believe that you can have success and happiness? And Mariah had kind of went on this tangent, Angel number 1007, and Oprah brought it back around like, no, but do you believe it? Do you believe it now? And I think, and at first I was like, I found it so sad that it's like, for one, it's not that I found it sad. Two things happened. One, I realized like you really have control over the thoughts that you think. Like for real. And I think so often we think because people obtain riches and all this stuff that they're happy. But it's like if you have a belief in your mind that I can only have success, but I can't have happiness, love, and a family, that is what you will have. Like say, and this is why I want you to understand, I'm not saying that you want to think this. It's because life can present it. Life tells women all the time, well, you can't have it all. 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 And subconsciously in our mind, we feel like, oh, well, I can't have it all. I can't be successful and have a loyal man and have a loving family and be thriving. I can't do it. So you move that way and you go out into the world, and then eventually the world will show you that because you believe that deep down inside. So you'll get success, but then you can't keep a relationship. You'll have a happy relationship, but now all of a sudden you fucking up at work because deep down inside you have taken on these beliefs from society. And so what God is saying is that you don't need anybody to believe what you believe to be true. Convince your goddamn self. Convince yourself that it's true. You don't have to. And to make this more personal, I don't have to make you guys believe that it's possible for to have love and a happy career. I don't have to convince you guys that Black women can have it all. I just need to go and become that Black woman that has it all, and then y'all will get it. I don't need to waste my energy. I don't need to waste all this time being like, girl, do this, you do this, you do that, you do that. That's why I try so hard not to tell you guys, do this. Or when I'm writing my articles, I don't try to convince you of shit. I just tell you my life, tell you what happened to me, tell you my experiences, and then be like, so sis, you could either do this and overcome, or you can stay in your situation. But I'm not trying to convince you of anything because, for one, you're your own motherfucking person with your own life experiences, with your own beliefs and self-limiting beliefs. Okay? So the moral of this and what this message is trying to get you to understand is that you really have to ask yourself what you really genuinely believe to be true in your life, what you feel like that's possible for you, whether that's for you to have an amazing career, whether that's for you to have an amazing partner, or whether amazing family, amazing house, whatever. You have to ask yourself, what do you believe to be true? And then spend your time convincing yourself, not others. All right? Okay. All right, y'all. That is it. I'm actually going to go ahead and wrap up this message with a Black angel. Angel number 1325. Let's wrap this up with a Black angel. All right, God. Clarify this message of convince yourself, not others. It's not as if you need anyone. Flawed premises can attract true unwanted evidence. God, how can we just focus on ourselves, focus on our own beliefs, and not worrying about what the world thinks? Allow no room for doubt or confusion. All right, God. One more shuffle. I'm laughing because this card was like facing up, and then I just kept shuffling, and then eventually it came. So angel number 1414, the card that we're going to focus on is the Changer. Underneath this is the Wanderer. Let's just see what this card of the Wanderer means really quickly. If you selected the Wanderer, you have battles with what is true and what is false. What you think you do and what is happening in your life are not congruent. You may have a tendency to avoid what life is presenting you by attending only to those things that interest you. You may have a tendency to escape. If you could look at life as just passing, you may be able to stay with it. Do you think you can make peace with what is potent in your life? So this just lets you know that sometimes I actually really love this because it says if you selected this card, you have battles with what is true and what is false. And then remember, our whole tool is going back to flawed premises, angel number 1505. So again, what God is saying is that you have to work on what you believe, what is your truth, and what is stuff that society gave to you. Okay? All right. But the card that we're going to focus on is the Changer. I don't know why I said that like that because I'm crazy. All right, the Changer. You are transformation manifest in human form. You are transformation manifested in a human form. You embody change from deep within. On the waking path, new and wonderful things come through you. When people are in your company for a period of time, they don't know what hit them. Suddenly they have shifted by being in relationship with you. Primarily, you create a metamorphosis in others' values and beliefs. People are easily influenced or convinced by what you do and say. Yet the shifting of values and belief within you and within others can create chaos for those who want to maintain the status quo, leave things as they are. This chaos is augmented by the fact that you are constantly evolving. People can be uncomfortable with your evolution and thus may frequently suffer the loss you may frequently suffer the loss of friendships. But at the same time, your evolution can lead to People can be uncomfortable with your evolution, and thus you may frequently suffer the loss of friendships. But at the same time, your evolution can lead to enjoying a wonderful, diverse group of acquaintances. Transitioning through changes is serious work for you as you accept each and every turning point of your life. As you transform, you develop a deep sense of trust and faith within yourself. Sometimes you get tired of transformation, but you cannot step out of it because it is your nature. Your own transformation is catalyzed by your ability to constantly change perspectives on life once you learn life's lessons. As your vision of life expands, you become more receptive to new ways of living. You may need to learn how to better handle the ground always shifting underneath your feet. In the fixed state, you are immobile and cannot maneuver through life with ease, if at all. Once you realize you cannot stop change, you will end your occasional desire to stop the world and get off. Once you realize you cannot stop change, you will end your occasional desire to stop the world and get off. When your personality is going through a makeover, laugh at the awkwardness of being born again, dropping old ways of behaving and babbling nonsense sometimes. Perfection dissolves into changing states. Change can be a fearful event and filled with grief. A loss of who you think you are in the world means the familiar is gone. This can be a place of suffering or a place of freedom. The freedom is in receiving all the new possibilities of your life. In change, you are not discarding who you are, but rather enhancing your life with new possibilities. Rely on the courage you possess to assess what you truly know about yourself. There, in the deepest part of your heart, is comfort in just being who you are. Be as attentive in this transformation as you would care for a new tree growing. Ultimately, you will discover that it is okay to change. Angel number 1835. So God is saying it's not as if you need anybody and convince yourself and not others. I feel like for a lot of you guys, you are recognizing that you have attracted some of these flawed premises in your life. You're recognizing that some of those beliefs and some of those mindsets that you have been taught as a kid, they're no longer serving you. And it's forcing you to kind of change. But when you're changing, know that you don't have to change or judge anyone. Everybody is literally doing the best they can. Don't judge yourself for the things that you did right or you did wrong. For the things you did wrong. Forgive yourself. Know that you were doing the best that you could do with the information you have at that time. And know that as you are changing and you are evolving out of your different friend groups, you're not doing it from this place of judgment or looking down on them. You're simply doing it because you want to have a life that is more of a reflection of yourself. So I don't know what this change you may be going through or this transformation that you are about to embark on. But I just tell you, do not spend yourself on convincing others. Do not spend your time convincing others. Spend this time convincing your goddamn self. All right, y'all. This is all the messages I have for you. Angel number 1955. If you made it to the end of this message, please give me a thumbs up. If you made it to the end of this message, you are not subscribed. What are you waiting for? Until we meet again, dream those dreams. Never let the internet rush you, and never, ever, ever let someone tell you what you cannot do. Take care, guys. All right. I think I'm gonna leave it at that. Convince yourself, not others. Bye.